I have reconciled all of the transactions and we have a little bit of money to play with. So let's start at the top here. I've been tracking all our money. So these are our paychecks for the month. This is the one that we're budgeting today, $2,519.17. This should be the paycheck going forward. There's been some up and down, well, not up and downs, but just like different amounts, but 2519.17 should be the amount going forward. And then we got $200. So my husband's tax rebate check came from the Ontario government. They are apparently giving everybody $200 who filed their taxes last year, and then children who qualify for the Canadian Child Benefit also get $200, which means our family should be getting $800. We have received $200 and just waiting for the remaining $600. The $600 should come together, I think, because I am the quote unquote primary caregiver according to the Canadian Revenue Agency. So all of the payments that they get come directly to me. Now, my husband and I have a joint account, so it doesn't really matter. But we also got $280. The carbon rebate came in. I think that comes in once every 3 months, but I could be wrong. I don't really track when it comes in. I just get really excited when I see a check in the mail. So we have that 280. So combined, the 480 plus the paycheck of 2519.17 is what we have to budget. As you can see there, it's basically $3,000. And then age of money, I'm so sad about this. I was hoping we would get up to double digits. In September, we were 2 days, October, 2 days, then November, December, and now January, 6 days. So I'm feeling a little bit sad about that, but we're doing good things. We're doing good choices. We're making progress on our goals and the sinking funds. And hopefully, well, no, definitely today we'll be making some progress towards paying off the credit card float, which will help us to build that age of money. This is also the first time I've seen a positive days of buffering, which is really, really fun. So that's from the YNAB toolkit. And it has to do with like, if all money stopped coming in today, how many days could your checkings account hold you for? So a day and a half. A day and a half. It's usually negative. So that feels really good. Okay, so let's look at the credit card float first. I'm actually going to go to February because we have some overspending, so it kind of messes with January. But right now, our credit card float is $2,693.12. So let's see if we can clear some of that up. See, it says there's currently $338 in overspent categories, so it can't tell me the float until we cover the overspent category. So let's do that. As you know, these first three are withdrawn out of my account on Fridays, and so they are red. I have a sort of, I think, maybe plan to fix this and get ahead of this. So come back on Tuesday. I think I'm going to do a budget, like another video on that. Because tomorrow I have my owner's draw that will be deposited into my account. And so I'm thinking I'm going to use my owner's draw to get a week ahead for these three categories. And then that way it's not in the red every single week. Okay. But we'll figure that out tomorrow. I'm going to play with some numbers and run some scenarios tonight. And yeah. So the first overspent that we're going to deal with is gas. I did budget $75 a week. We went over by $28.23. And so budgeting that. And then same with groceries. We budgeted $3.50 a week and went over by $97.88. So we'll cover that spending. And then the last one is life. Earlier this month, we had our CAA membership renewal that I didn't have money budgeted for, so I took it from life. And then we also had the furnace filter that we had to replace. My husband bought one, and I thought, because historically we've bought 3-month replacement filters, so they're good for 3 months and you replace them. Apparently he bought a premium one that is good for 12 months. So that $62 is not a quarterly expense. It is an annual expense. Now I need to look into it more. I've done zero research. Maybe the company claims that and it actually isn't. I don't know. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to figure out if it actually is good for 12 months or if it's just like a marketing scam. But we stole money from here. I'm going to give the money back. So $125 per week. There's 5 weeks in January. And then we'll just go back here, which means we're not overspent. We actually have almost $200 available in this category, which is awesome. Now back to overspent. The last one is the car maintenance. Brakes were done. Brakes are now fully paid for. So that is great. So we have only these 3 categories overspent, and let's deal with them now. So our weekly priorities, $300 to our tax free savings account, $170 to our retirement savings, which again is a combo between my husband's RSP and my pension buyback. Our mortgage, $720 a week. And that is everything here. Everything, these are all funded. We're not going to add any more money to our regular spent this week. Bills are all taken care of. Weekly sinking funds, actually we'll go to all to deal with that. So first, before I deal with these weekly ones, I'm going to deal with the rest of the sinking funds. These are our end of month sinking funds. Eating out is funded. Car maintenance is spent. Gift and giving is spent, but also fully funded. This is spent. $150 for kids activities, $40 for subscriptions, $25 for adventures, $100 for yard maintenance, and $50 for weddings. I'm going to actually put that in there. $50 per month for weddings and stuff. So we put our first $50 aside for that. And then I'm not going to deal with that right now. So we still have $918.04 available. So my original plan is, before those checks came in the mail, was to put the $800 that we're planning on getting was going to go towards paying for this. But because we hadn't got it yet, I was going to take the money from here. So 500 minus 400 and 625 minus 400. And then I have, this is where the $800 would come from. Now we got $200 of it. So I'm going to add that $100 here and another $100 here. And that leaves us with $393.04. And I am going to put that on the credit card float, which is actually, because we covered the spending that's happened already, it's already down to $3,354, which is so cool. $393.04. And then I'm going to go back up to the top and I'm going to see, can I pull any more money? And the answer is yes. I'm not going to touch this $150 because it's actually going to be withdrawn from my account on Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, Monday or Tuesday for our tax-free savings accounts. But this $99.01 comes from the Canadian Child benefit. $500 goes to the RESPs, and then the other $99 I typically just like redistribute into the budget. So we'll do that. Obviously, there's no money to take in this category. And I'm going to pull this $187.65 here. And I'm going to take the $50 there. I'm going to snooze this category. Do I need to snooze that other one up there? I don't. Okay. I'm going to snooze those categories so they're not like in my face. And that gives us another $336.66. Now, I'm not going to take anything from any of the sinking funds. I'm just going to leave that all by itself. So $333.66. And now we are down to $2,624.94. So I'm super, super excited about that. We've made plenty of progress on the credit card float this month. Okay, so since we're done that budget, I actually created another budget. This was inspired by Shay and Kaylee from It's Just Finance, and they have another budget for their student loans, but I thought it would be good to have a budget for our tax-free savings accounts, because in our main budget, they are tracking accounts, they're not cash accounts. So while the money is separated into different buckets in my brain, I was like, oh, I could just totally make another budget and separate them in the budget. So that's what we're going to do now. The first thing we need to do is to create targets for each one. So our emergency fund target is $30,000, and we just need $30,000. I'm not going to set a date or anything like that. And then the next one is home maintenance. We want $10,000 in home maintenance, and we want it by the end of this year. So December, I want to have a balance of it by December 2025. Save. I think I messed that up with the emergency fund. I want a balance of $30,000 with no due date. There we go. And then our frontline expenses, this is where I get money if anything ever happens, like with the car maintenance. the repair, I would have pulled it from there if we weren't getting the refund checks and I couldn't figure out where the money was going to come from. If we needed a window to be replaced or something like that, this frontline unexpected is where that money comes from. And that helps us from not just like having to put something onto our credit card. And I'm going to say I want a balance of $2,500. Okay, so let's fund these. These are our 4 accounts because tax-free savings accounts in Canada cannot be joint. And so both my husband and I have short-term ones, which is just a straight savings account, gets regular interest, and we have long-term ones that are invested in the market. These have been reconciled with the balances as of today because it is the end of the month. I do that on the last day of the month for all of our accounts. And so these are accurate balances of what we have. So the frontline expenses would be from our short-term savings account, so $1,065.17 plus $968.03. And then from our long-term, we're going to start by funding the emergency fund. This $30,000 honestly feels like overkill to me because both my husband and I have very steady jobs. We're both unionized. The likelihood of either one of us losing our job is very slim to none. And so $30,000 feels like overkill. On top of having like very stable, reliable jobs, we also have both short and long-term disability that we pay into. So if we were to get sick or injured or something, then we have that protection. And if the worst case scenario happened and one of us died, then we have life insurance. So this $30,000 feels like a lot, but it's nice to have. And then if something happened, like our furnace went out, and that's $15,000 and we don't have it in the house maintenance and other places, we can always pull from there and like rebuild. Historically, we've also used this money as vacations and just built it back up after we're done the vacation. But again, I think that having 6 months worth of expenses, and these are bare bone expenses. I mean, you've seen our bills. That would be getting rid of the RSP contributions, the tax-free savings contributions every week. It would be bringing our mortgage down to absolute nothing. It'd be canceling Netflix, and it would be cutting our grocery budget in half. We do not really like try to cut our grocery budget. And so it is a pretty large budget, a pretty big portion of our bills. But if one of us lost our job or something and we needed to rely on our emergency fund, there's a lot of places where we could cut. So that's kind of my little shamble about the emergency fund. The remaining money is going to go into the house fund. I got this number that I needed $10,000 based on the top 3 results on Google, saying that you should have about 1 to 3% of your house, your house's worth. And our house is worth $1 million, so 1% of that is $10,000, and that's where I got that number. It's pretty arbitrary. I have literally no idea if it would be enough or not, but that's what we're saving towards. And like I said, if something big were to happen, like our furnace went out and we needed to replace it tomorrow, we do have this $30,000 we could fall back on as well. Once this frontline unexpected line is funded, I only need $466.80. So that will likely get funded next month. And once that happens, all of the money in both the short and long-term accounts will start to get funded into the home maintenance line of our budget instead of, like split. And then once home maintenance is funded, we'll start to just stack money into vacation fund. And ideally one day our tax-free savings accounts will be totally maxed out, but I have a sneaking suspicion that is a while away. If I'm not mistaken, we both have access to $80,000 and we have about $18,000 each. So we're pretty far away from that max. And because we do spend out of it for things like vacation and home maintenance, who knows if we'll ever get there, but that would be a pipe dream of mine. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful so you could see how we organize our tax-free savings accounts. Oh, another thing that's probably important to say is if we did have that $15,000 bill that came to us, typically I pull half of the money from my husband's account and half the money from my account because they are 2 separate accounts, but I like to function and to envision them as one account. They can't be joint because of the rules in Canada, but if we do need to pull money out, we pull it equally from both, and we also contribute equally to both. The discrepancies in the balance have to do with risk tolerance and timing of deposits. So for some reason, his is $75 behind mine because mine deposits on Friday, so that happened today, and then his deposits on Mondays, so his won't happen until Monday. So we spend half the time with me ahead, quote unquote, and half the time equal. I don't really know why that happened, but it is what it is. And then for our long-term ones, we have very different investor profiles, and our money is invested based on our individual profiles, which I think gives us a more well-rounded overall investment strategy, with having one who's significantly riskier than the other person's investing strategies and styles. So that works really well for us, but there's been some ups and downs in the markets. And he also had a little bit more in his account when we first met. And so he still maintains a little bit more. And yeah, but this works for us. I don't know if it would work for you. I will update this budget on the last paycheck of each month. So in February, it's also the last day of the month, which is really exciting. But it won't be after that. Well, it might be, but March won't be. So anyway, I will update this again on the last paycheck each month to show you how we are allotting the money and where our savings is going, because like I said before, it's not in our main budget. They're tracking funds. I love that because it keeps it separate. I don't feel like this is money I can spend. It's tucked away, though some of it, this $2,000, is fairly easily accessible. I can just go online and transfer it. But overall, this isn't money that is accessible. I have been debating about using this $2,000 to get out of the credit card float, but I also think we are likely going to need this money for the home insurance bill that comes in April. And so I don't want to even consider that until after that bill has been paid. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you subscribe and stick around and come see the next video, which will be on Tuesday. It's my owner draw budgeting that I'm going to be depositing into my account tomorrow. Have a great day.